Welcome back to another episode of Echo English. You know, English has a lot of silent letters. If you go through every letter of the alphabet, many letters are completely silent. In today's episode, I want to show you when these letters are not pronounced, when these letters are silent. Let's go to the computer and find out. Okay, so like most of you know, English spelling doesn't make sense a lot. Like most of you know, if you're studying English, English spelling doesn't make sense most of the time. In fact, they say that more than 50% of English words have silent letters. These are letters that don't have any sound. And in this lesson, I want to show you where you won't pronounce some of these letters. So let's start with the letter A. The letter A right now. Okay, so the letter A is a vowel. It's a very common vowel. And there's one situation where the letter A will not be pronounced. And it seems to be when we have the letters A-L-L-Y, Ali. And when that first letter is a C, such as in this case right here, basically, classically, musically, anything that ends with a k sound and is followed by A-L-L-Y becomes a kli instead of kali. So this A ends up becoming silent in that case. But pay attention here. Emotionally ends with an N, so we do pronounce the A as a schwa. Emotionally. So just pay attention to that next time you see A-L-L-Y ending words. Okay, so the letter B, this is a pretty obvious one. If the letter B is followed by an M, then the B is usually silent. Not all the time, but often it's silent. For instance, we have comb, what you use to brush your hair, or bomb. B-O-M-B is just pronounced bomb, not bomb. The B is completely silent. And some B-T combinations. These are just words you have to memorize, like doubt, subtle, or debt, where the B is completely silent and you pronounce the T instead. And that is it for those. B is pretty simple. Now with C, usually you will see C silent when it's followed or when it is preceded by an S-C combination, like science, not science, or ascend, not askend, disciple, and muscle, not muscle. When many native speakers are learning English, we pronounce these words and our teachers have to correct us. So that's very important. Pay attention to that SC combination. Now, D doesn't have very many silent positions, but in these three words, and there are a few others, you will just have to learn them. Like sandwich, where the D is not pronounced. Wednesday is just a weird word altogether, which should be pronounced Wednesday. And sometimes we make fun of that. And handkerchief, where the many words are not pronounced. Handkerchief. So, those are a few examples of the silent D, but there are not many, so don't worry about those. Just learn them when you see them. The letter E. Now, the letter E is silent oftentimes at the end of words, and this is actually a pronunciation or an indication that the vowel that comes before is long. For instance, we have here an E right here that is silent. So it's not maki, it's make. The E at the end right here makes this vowel an A sound. Same thing here, Mike. Not Mikey or Mike, but this I becomes I sound, Mike, instead of Mick. Another good example here is Pope versus Pop. We have Pop here. When we add an E, the O becomes long. So it's not ah anymore, it's O. So Pope versus Pop. So at the end of words, E could be silent. The letter G. So the letter G is silent oftentimes when it is next to an N sound. So we have sign or gnome. But pay attention here. When sign becomes signature, the G is pronounced again. So sign, silent G, but signature, G, signature, it's pronounced. And then we have a GH combination. Many words in English are spelled with a GH, and that GH is almost always silent, like thought, or through, or high. There's no sound at all. Pay attention to that. Some words in English have a silent H, but it's not very common. For instance, hour, which is pronounced just like this word, hour. Or air, or honesty, honesty. The H is completely silent in those cases. K is silent usually when it comes before an N sound. This is an old English pronunciation of kn. Except now, English has changed, and even though the spelling hasn't, the pronunciation has become just an N sound. So we have knock or night, which used to be pronounced apparently knicht, or know, which is a common word. I know, you know, we know, and knowledge. So KN equals N sound. Then we have L. L is silent in a few places in English. When we talk about words that are ending with a K and an L together, like talk and walk and stock, maybe in the past the L was pronounced, so it used to be maybe talk or walk, except now it's completely silent. And then should and could as well. It's not should or could, it's should and would. Absolutely no L sound whatsoever. In English, it's very rare for the M to be silent. In one case, which I believe comes from Greek, MN is pronounced as an N sound. So we have mnemonic. Instead of mn, it's just mnemonic. But that's very rare. You won't see that very often, so usually you will pronounce the M. Now, the letter N in some MN combinations will be silent. For instance, column, autumn, or hymn. But again, when we change the word hymn to hymnal, the N has a sound again. So we have hymn here, but hymnal. So the N comes back. Pay attention to that. That happens in many words. But MN at the end of words, the N is usually silent. We just pronounce the sound. Now we have the letter P. So sometimes the PN is pronounced just like a P. These are also probably from Greek, like pneumonia. In pneumonia, the P doesn't have any sound. And then this word right here, PSY, the P is silent and it sounds like sigh. For instance, psychology, psychological. And then this last word here is a word that comes from French. Many words have been borrowed from the French language, and the French language apparently doesn't pronounce many consonants at the end of words. So this word is pronounced coup, and the P is completely silent. It follows the same rules as French, and there are a few others we'll talk about in the coming slides. Now, the letter T is silent sometimes when it comes with an ST combination. Here are some examples of that. Fasten, hustle, bustle, listen, which is a very common verb. We should use every day. Often, which used to be pronounced often. Whistle. And this last word from French is rapport, where the T is silent at the end of the word. Because it used to be French. Now the letter U is silent sometimes when it comes before a G, like guess, colleagues, guitar, not guitar, or tongue, not tongue. And those are the only few cases I can think of where the U is silent. In W, there are a few cases of some very common words like answer, not answer, who, whole, and to, where the W is completely silent. Then we have X. Now, X is not a very common letter in English, but this word right here, faux pas, comes from French, and that's why the X is not pronounced. When many people see this word for the first time, or these words for the first time, they usually pronounce it fox pass. That's what I thought too. But it's from French. It means a social blunder. It's actually a very advanced word, but very useful. Faux pas is how it's pronounced. And then the last word right here, or the last letter, is Z. These are also French words where the Z is not pronounced. Rendezvous and laissez-faire. So, rendezvous is a meeting place or to meet with someone. Laissez-faire is a term for meaning hands off. And that is it for our silent letters lesson. I hope you guys learned a lot, and this will help you pronounce a lot of English words that maybe were difficult before. And I know sometimes it's impossible to know exactly how to pronounce the words because there are so many possibilities when you look at the letters, but maybe this will help lessen the confusion for some of the words that really don't make any sense. In any case, I'm Evan, this is Echo English, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Until next time.